Hello friends of the channel, we have the second part of the tutorial for the Mark III Space Marine. We're going to clean the sand that is loose from our last video when we put the base and the legs. Make sure there's no sand, clean it all with a brush. And I want to start saying that it is very important to clean with a file the upper part of the armor and the legs. There is a small the part of the armor that needs to be clean so it can be flat, because otherwise it's gonna give us troubles when we try to add some equipment and some gear into the model. So just take a file, a metal file, and just clean it very well, just the way you see it here. Make sure that all that is gone in both legs, so it can be very smooth, just as you see right now in the video. So we're gonna file some more, make sure that there's nothing left of the upper part of the armor in the leg of the Mark III model. And we're gonna use a polystyrene tube in this case for our spacer. Is the best material in my opinion. You can use other things, but this is what I use, and I'm very happy with the results that I have. The cut needs to be very clean, so I use a very small hobby saw. Make sure you make a clean cut so the parts can be attached well. If it is not flat, you will have problems attaching the torso and the legs. And this is the way it looks. And to be honest, I don't think more than 2 millimeters is good for this model. It will be too much, so 2 millimeters is probably the most. In this case, we have a 1.5 millimeters probably, which is perfect for our Mark III model. This entire project is made with the GW plastic kit, the regular plastic kit. So this is plastic. One of the parts that's going to be attached to the leg, the oval part of the leg, the upper part of the leg, needs to be filed. Make sure you file it so it will be attached well to the round part of the upper part of the leg. And the other part, the ones that are going to be attached to the torso, make sure you put a sign there so we know the difference between the part that's going to be attached to the leg and the part that's going to be attached to the torso. So I put a small mark with a marker. And we need to really make sure that it's flat. So in this case, you can use sand and paper sand and just make it flat, really flat, so it will be well attached. You can use a ruler or anything that is flat to make sure that the spacer is very clean and smooth. Now that we're sure that it is okay, in this case you're gonna have to use our plastic Tamiya glue, extra thin. You can put a generous amount, make sure you put enough, and attach the part that we filed previously to the leg with the part that is marked facing up. That's where we're gonna attach the torso. Make sure that it's well attached. Make sure that it's well attached to the legs. And in this case, we have the measurements. It's really good. Now what I'm doing is I'm gonna start putting the goo. This is the goo that we made with the Tamiya plastic glue, and is going inside. So it's gonna act like if it is welding both parts. I'm not putting it in the border, but in the inside. Also the torso, as you see here, it needs to be filed. Make sure that it's very flat so it can be attached to the spacer made of polystyrene that we just placed in the leg. Make sure you file it really well so it can be really flat. As you see right now, I'm putting right now a good amount of plastic cement, Tamiya extra thin plastic cement on the border of the torso, and do the same thing with the border of the spacer. You can put it in the border, and one more time, a little bit more in the upper part of the body and on the torso too. And now you can add some glue inside, not in the border, but inside the torso. So once we close, it's gonna act like a sealant. It's gonna seal both parts from the inside too. So be very generous about this. Put enough glue and a little bit more of the glue, the plastic cement on the border. One more time, on the border too. Very important that you put in the border so it can, both parts can attach very well. At this point, you have to make sure that the parts are very well attached. Make sure that very well attached to each other. It's coming very, very good. At this point, guys, if you want to support the channel, you can support the channel on Patreon. It's going to be on the description down below, and you can help us so we can come out with more tutorials. I'm planning on doing some primaries, showing you some Mark IV, Death Watch, and other models. So you can give us a hand by supporting us on Patreon. And this is the comparison with a finished model. You can see that the size is coming out really, really well. And we're gonna have a nice pose, very different, good looking model on the Mark III. This is my favorite type of armor, as you guys know. And I'm very big on nice poses and very different looking models. So make sure that it is well attached. And about the plastic polystyrene tubes, this is the brand that I use. You can get these ones in hobby stores, in the internet, but make sure you get something that is of good quality. I recommend this brand and some other brands, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, EVERGREEN. That's the name of the brand, and it is very good polystyrene tube that you see over here, and this is what I recommend for the spacer. For this model, you're gonna need a 8 millimeter spacer. Make sure you don't get something bigger or smaller, otherwise it's not gonna fit the Mark III model Space Marine. I'm very happy so far with the pose. As you guys can see, the size is correct, and this is the comparison with a normal model just built following the booklet rules that come in the box. Big difference. You can see day and night that they already look very different. Subscribe to the channel, guys, and ring the bell too so you guys receive notifications. And for the first part of the model, if you want to see how we did the legs and how we position the legs so we can get a better pose, you can check the part 1 of this tutorial. And this is the way it's looking right now. And at this time, I'm gonna add the plastic goo, not the glue, but the goo, and make sure you cover the white spacer that we have in the waist of the model. Make sure that you touch the leg and also part of the torso, covering all the white part of the plastic part, and that way we fuse the 3 parts. We fuse the torso, we fuse the plastic part, and we fuse the legs, making it the bond very strong. Put a good amount. Make sure you're very delicate about it, so you don't want to put too much but not too little. Like I'll say two more time, you're almost fusing the 3 parts of the model, making it a single piece, very well attached. You can also, like I'm doing right now, go over with plastic Tamiya liquid, just the liquid part, to smooth the goo. I usually put the head at the end of the model when I'm finishing, but just for showing purposes, I'm gonna attach the model temporarily, so you guys can see how it looks. We're gonna decide that later, how finally the model is gonna look. And I'm very happy with the way it's coming out. We're gonna have a very good looking Mark III Space Marine model. As you guys can see, the pose is coming very good, and then this is the way it's gonna look. It's gonna compare with a model already finished. Okay guys, I say subscribe to the channel. You can support us at Patreon, right down in the description, and this is the way it looks compared to a normal Space Marine. It's going to help us to do more videos and create more content with other models. And thank you for your time, and hopefully you have any questions, you can put it in the comments. If you have any comments or questions, or you can add some information to the other people in the channel too, we very appreciate. And that's the way it looks. Very happy with the results. See you in the next video, guys.